conference will now be recorded.
Just give me 1 sec. Okay, let me try to. So let us start with today's topic, that is your measures of dispersion. This is called as second moment business decision. Second moment business decision. Can anyone tell me why it is called as second moment business decision? As I have given, with respect to as I've given with respect to first moment business decision is because most of them will ask with respect to what is the average salary, what is the average revenue, what is the average profit. So in that case, that is called as your first moment business decision. But when it comes to your second moment business decision, any business would ask with respect to, hey, how much have we increased with respect to previous quarter? So your company's quarterly results, have you read your company's quarterly results on news? Have you observed how do they mention it? Anyone? Anyone? Yes? No idea. Fine. So let me tell you like this. Profits. Yes, profits, revenues, they will announce it. But how do they announce it? So they will mention it, right? So for April to July quarter, April to June quarter, so and so sales have been increased by,
Budgeted versus actuals.
yes,
Budgeted versus actuals.
yeah,
In terms of percentage they show.
yeah, in terms of percentages also they show, and also with respect to previous quarterly also
Growth.
they will show, right? Previous quarter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
sales has been increased by 12% from your previous quarter, like this. And second thing, they will also mention sales is been increased with respect to 1.3% previous year on year. Have you observed this? If you are not observed this, try to read this. So take some newspaper. Now it is earning season. So from today onwards, most of the companies will post their quarterly results. Try to see this. So they'll mention that April to June quarter sales have been increased by 12%, 13%, 15% compared to previous quarter. It has increased, or it might have also decreased. Like this, they will mention. So that is called as your variation. That is called as your how much it is varied from your previous quarter, whether it is increased or whether it is decreased. It is not only with respect to your company sales. You get your hike letters in the month of April or May, probably, right? You also compare, right? Hey, I got last year 12% hike, but this year I got only 7% hike. Yes or no? Yes or no? So you're comparing with your own this thing. So how much is it varying from my previous quarter? How much is it varying from my previous quarter? That is called as measures of dispersion. So measures of dispersion. The mean, median, mode is usually not by itself a sufficient measure to reveal the shape of a distribution of a data set. Your mean, median, mode will tell just whether it is center point of the data. Center point of the data. But when it comes to measures of dispersion, it will show you how your data has been spread, how much is it varying from the mean, whether they are increasing towards or whether they are decreasing, plus 3 or plus 5 or minus 5, whatever it can be, whatever it can be. So that is called as your measures of dispersion. So in simple way, I'll try to give you one example with respect to this. So you should tell me which particular student is best out of these two measures of dispersion. So let me just take a blank slide. Measures of dispersion I'll be explaining you in this particular slide. So there are two students, student 1, student 2. Minimum score, average score, this is average score, that is 50%. Minimum is 0, maximum is 100%. Both the students same class, whatever it is. 0, average is 50% and maximum is 100%. Now coming to this point, student 1 scores like this. First semester he scores somewhere around close to 20%. Second semester suddenly he scores 95%. Third semester 60%. Fourth semester 35%. Fifth semester, sixth semester, seventh semester, eighth semester. This is your student 1's result. First semester, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. Now coming to your student 2. Student 2 has scored 45%, 55%, like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This is not there. So out of these two, whether student 1 is better or student 2 is better, based on your analysis, forget about your data science, forget about your statistics, everything. Tell me which student is better.
S2.
Why student 2?
S2.
Yes, why?
Yeah.
You should tell me the reason.
There is no much variance between the.
Yes, that is called as your variance measures. There is no much dispersion, right? There is no much variance. See, if you see the variation from your student 1, in one semester is scoring 30%, in second semester is scoring 90%. There is a huge difference. There is a huge variation between your student 1. If you see student 2, the variation is very less. The variance is very less. So this is the concept called as measures of dispersion. Measures of dispersion. So this is how we talk with respect to statistics terms or the business terms. We talk with respect to measures of dispersion. That is your variance. So that is your variance. So once again, Bhupendra, please concentrate. Please don't try to practice it now itself. Please concentrate whatever I'm explaining. There is a student 1. Let me take it as Bhupendra itself. Bhupendra, and let me take one more person like Harini. Bhupendra's salary. This is Harini's salary. Instead of student, I'm going with respect to employees data. Employees data. Bhupendra's hike, he has completed 5 years service, and Harini has also completed 5 years service in so and so company, X company. First year, he got average hike of maximum of 20%, 10% is average, 0 is low. First year, he got 2% hike. Second year, he got 18% hike. Third year, he got 4% hike. Fourth year, he got 12% hike. Fifth year, he got like this. So it's 2%, 18%, 4%, 12%, 7%. This is Bhupendra's salary hike over last 5 years. And now Arini's salary is like this. First year, she got 8%. Second year, she got 11%. Third year, she got 13%. Fourth year, she got around 9%. Fifth year, she got around 10.5%. So this is Harini's salary, first semester, first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year. Now out of these two, who is best, Bhupendra? Bhupendra's salary is better or Harini's salary hike is better? I want Bhupendra to answer this. Harini, yes, because the variance is very low, because she is maintaining consistent hike over year. So that is the reason it is called as your variance. You can call it as measures of dispersion. With respect to your business analytics or data science, always the business people will talk with respect to terms of how much have we increased from previous quarter, how much have we increased from year on year, how much the profit has been come down, how much revenue has gone up, how much EBITDA has come down. So tomorrow morning, what is your agenda is, go to Economic Times newspaper or go to Times of India newspaper. If you're not having newspaper, fine, not a problem. Go to moneycontrol.com. Go to moneycontrol.com. It can be daily basis, it can be yearly basis, it can be weekly basis also, Bhupendra. It is not mandatory that you should have only yearly basis. It can be weekly, monthly, daily, like that. Sales, how much is it? Sales is been increasing on a daily basis, like this. It can also be like this, or it can also be like this. There is nothing like stability. See, you cannot predict. See, if you are getting first semester 35%, it doesn't mean that you cannot get 90%. You can also get 90%. But the thing is, how much is it varying? You should see that on Debanshu. It is nothing but how much is it varying from your previous quarter, or how much is it varying from your mean. How much is it varying from here? If your mean average is equal to 50%, how much are you varying from mean? Is it going 10% up or 10% down or 20% down or up 20% up? It is nothing but your how much are you varying. That is called as your measures of dispersion. With respect to measures of dispersion, we have three calculations, or you can call it as three measurements. One is called as, first one we can call it as variance. Second one we call it as standard deviation. Third one we can call it as range. I have mentioned it as first one. So either it is, there is no relationship between range and others. So let me explain you first what is range. So if there is a number from 1 to 20, if there is a number from 1 to 20, what is minimum number here? Minimum is 1, maximum is 20. So range formula is nothing but, it is simple, maximum minus minimum. So 20 minus 1 is 19 is your range. It is simple. Range is nothing but maximum minus minimum. That is called as your range. Now coming to variance, very, very important part. Concentrate, please concentrate here. So variance, in order to calculate your variance formula, the formula is simple. It is variance is denoted by, so remember one thing, population variance. Concentrate once again, sample variance, population variance, sample variance. We have two terms. Population variance is denoted by sigma square. Remember this, note down this, sigma square. Sample variance is denoted by s square, small s square. This is population variance, this is sample variance. Now whenever you open any machine learning book or statistics books, if you see that there is sigma square, it is nothing but population variance. If it is small s square, it is nothing but sample variance. So what is x? What is capital X? What is capital X?
Population.
Huh?
Sample population.
It is not a sample, it is your random variable. I've explained you in the previous session. Please go through the videos. Capital X is nothing but your random variable. So now coming to your population variance formula, sigma square is equal to x minus mu whole square divided by capital N. X minus mu whole square divided by capital N. Sigma square, that is your sample variance with respect to s square. The formula is x minus x bar divided whole square divided by small n. So x minus mu, what is this mu? What is this mu?
Mean.
Yes. See, it is not just mean, it is population mean. See, as I told you that mu stands for population mean, not just mean. Population mean. What is this x bar? What is this x bar?
Sample.
Yes, it is your sample mean. What is this capital N?
Population. Total
Number of items.
Population size. You can call it as number of items in the population or population size. What is this small n? Yes, number of items in sample. Number of data points in sample. So you should know all these things. See, if you don't know this mu and if you don't know this x bar, you will not be able to calculate. So remember the formula, it is x minus mu whole square divided by n, capital N. And coming to sample, it is n minus 1. N minus 1 is the formula for your denominator. N minus 1 is the formula for your denominator in your sample variance. There is a mathematical reason behind why it is n minus 1 for sample. I'll explain that. For sample, it is x minus x bar whole square divided by n minus 1. So this is your sample variance, s square. Now, as it is, I told you that the measures of dispersion is called as second moment business decision. Remember that it is whole square. First moment there is no square or nothing. Power is 1. Here it is 2. So that is the reason you can call it as second moment business decision. So now coming to this numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If this is your numbers, 5 numbers, this is your population. This is your population. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 plus 3, 13 plus 15 is my sum. Divided by 5. It is nothing but my mu is 3. Mu is 3. Now this is your x1, x2, x3, x4, x5. The formula says from my end there is no problem, Kumar. From my end there is no problem because I've taken recently broadband connection with high speed network. So coming to this is your mu, and this is your x1, x2, x3, x4 and x5. So coming to your formula, it is x minus mu whole square divided by capital N. So what is capital N for this data? Capital N is 5. Capital N is 5, and let me calculate this using this formula. What is x1? As it is summation of I is equal to 1 until n, capital N. So I'll write it in this way. 1 minus mu is nothing but 3 whole square plus, as it is summation. Now I is equal to 2. 2 is 2. 2 minus 3. 3 is nothing but my mu whole square plus, as it is summation, I am writing it as plus. Next is x3. I is equal to 3. That is your 3. 3 minus 3 whole square plus summation 4 minus 3 whole square plus 5 minus 3 whole square. Entire thing divided by capital N, that is nothing but your 5. So 1 minus 3 is minus 2 whole square plus 2 minus 3 minus 1 whole square. 3 minus 3 is 0. I'll write it as 0 plus 4 minus 3 1 square plus 5 minus 3 2 square divided by 5 is equal to 2 minus 2 square is 4 plus 1 minus 1 square is 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 4. 4 plus 4 plus 1 plus 1 is nothing but 10 by 5. So this is nothing but your sigma square. The variance is your sigma square is nothing but your 2. Clear for everyone how to calculate it mathematically or statistically? In your real time, you will not sit and calculate manually, but the thing is you have to sit and calculate. For example purpose, I have shown you. It is just for your knowledge purpose. For now it is only 5 numbers. You can sit and calculate and explain me. In your real time, if you have 50,000 records, you will not be sitting and calculating like this, but this is the formula to calculate it. Just remember how to calculate. This is your sigma square. Sigma square. Let me complete the explanation, Bhupendra. Sigma square. Now, let me take some 2 numbers. 2 and 4 is my sample. 2 and 4 is my sample. For this sample, I am going to use same formula called as x minus x bar whole square divided by small n. I am not using n minus 1 as of now. I am just using n. So let me calculate x minus x bar. For this, 6 by 2 is nothing but mu is again 3. So 2 minus 3 whole square plus minus into plus, sorry, summation is plus 4 minus 3 whole square divided by how many n we have? 2. 2 minus 3 is minus 1 whole square is 1. 4 minus 3 1 is 1 square. So this becomes 2 by 2 is nothing but it is 1. It is 1. So I'm used the same formula for your population variance. Whatever the population variance formula was, same formula I've written here as n. As n. What is the difference between n minus 1 in your denominator is, now I'll show you with respect to same example. For 2 and 4, you got it as one as 2, another one as 3. This is your population variance, I guess. And this is your, this is your 1. This is your 1 and this is your 2. Population variance, you got it as 2. Sample variance, you got it as 1. If you use n. Now I am going to use n minus 1. It is nothing but 2 minus 3 whole square plus 4 minus 3 whole square divided by n minus 1. N minus 1 is nothing but two numbers. 2 minus 1 is 1. 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1. 2 minus 1 is nothing but your 1. So you'll be getting ultimately 2 by 1. So it becomes 2. So what does this indicate is, yes, I'll explain you once again. I'll explain you theoretically. So for population variance, you got it as 3 by using a formula called as x minus mu whole square divided by n, capital N. You got it as 3. For sample variance, you used a formula called as x minus x bar whole square divided by n. You got it as 2. You got it as 1 for this. Using same formula with respect to n as your denominator, you got it as 3 here, you got it as 1 here. But if you use n minus 1 for your sample, you got it as 2. Okay, fine. I'll repeat it once again. Please concentrate, everyone. One, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, from starting of formula only I'm explaining you. So standard deviation population variance formula is like this. X minus mu whole square divided by, this is whole square, divided by capital N. This is your population variance. This is your sample variance part. So sample variance formula is S square is equal to x minus x bar whole square divided by n minus 1. Until this point, everyone is clear? Yes? Now let me calculate. Bhupendra, I've just written the formula. I've just written formula, nothing else. Did I calculate it now? Then I've just written the formula. Just remember the formula, what it is. That's it, nothing else. So now coming to your formula calculation. So this x is nothing but your random variable x. x1, x2, x3, x4, x5. Now I'm calculating using this formula called as x minus mu whole square divided by 1. You need to calculate your mu. What is mu for this? Mu is nothing but addition of all these things divided by some total count. If you count this 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11 plus 4 is 15 divided by totally how many numbers we have? It is 5. It is mu is equal to 3. Now x minus mu summation, it will be always I is equal to 1 until n. So now I'm going to write it as, this is your x1 because it is summation I is equal to 1. It is 1 minus 3 whole square plus 2 minus 3 whole square plus 3 minus 3 whole square. I'm writing with nothing else. I'm replacing with x with values, mu with this 3 plus 4 minus 3 whole square plus 5 minus 3 whole square. Is it clear until this point now? Kumar, Ratnesh, Sanjay?
Yogesh,
Yes.
just one thing. So this mu is 3 here.
Yes, mu
So
is
you are
3.
mentioning 3 till all this number of no, digits. I mean,
Yes, it is a formula, right? X
5
minus
digits
mu
of
whole square.
average. Yeah.
See, it is irrespective of 5 numbers or 5,000 numbers. The formula is x minus mu whole square.
Yeah. Okay, clear.
Okay. Now, Bhupendra, is it clear for you?
Yes, yes.
Satish, wait for some time, Satish. Okay. Now, you need to calculate 1 minus 3 is how much? Minus 2 whole square. Plus 2 minus 3 is minus 1 whole square. Plus 3 minus 3 is 0 whole square. Plus 4 minus 3 is 1 square. Plus 5 minus 3 is 2 square. So minus 2 square is how much? 4. Plus minus 1 square is 1. Plus 0 is 0. 1 square is 1. Plus 2 square is 4. Divided by total number of values, that is your capital N. Totally we are having 5 numbers, that is 5. 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 2 is 10. 10 divided by 5 is nothing but 2. This is your population variance. This is your population variance denoted by sigma square. Is it clear now? Satish, Ratnesh, Bhupendra? Is it clear now? Satish, Ratnesh, okay. So out of this population 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I am choosing only 2 numbers. Let me choose 2 and 4 as your sample 1. Sample 1. So for this I am using same formula, not this formula. I am using the same formula, x minus mu whole square divided by n. For this again you need to calculate your x bar. How much is your x bar? It is 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is nothing but 3. This is your x bar. This is your x1. This is your x2. This is your x2. Formula says it is x minus x bar whole square divided by n. I'm not yet gone to this point. I'm not yet gone to this point. I'm explaining because this formula is n minus 1. So what is the difference between n and n minus 1? I'm going to explain you. So calculate the formula. 2 minus 3. X bar is 3. 2 minus 3 whole square plus 4 minus 3 whole square. 4 minus 3 whole square. What is 2 minus 3 whole square? It is minus 1 square plus 4 minus 3 is 1 square. So minus 1 square is 1 plus 1 square is 1. 1 plus 1 is 2 divided by small n. What is small n? How much is small n? How much is your small n? It is nothing but 2. So this is your 1. This is your 1. So is it clear until this point? Population variance and sample variance using the population formula. Is it clear? Now note down these values. Note down these values. How much you got? Population variance you got it as 2. Sample variance you got it as 2. Both of them you got it as 2 by using a formula, single formula, that is x minus mu whole square divided by n. Instead of mu whole square, for sample we have used x bar. That is the difference as of now. That is the difference as of now. But you got it as sample variance as 1, population variance as 2. Now your sample variance formula is not n. Actual sample variance formula is n minus 1. Yes, Ratnesh, tell me. Obviously, we have not considered. See, what do you mean by population and sample? So, what do you mean by population and sample, Ratnesh? I gave an example on that day, right? From 100 crores of population, you are coming to, yes, that is the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out of that, we have considered only 2 numbers. Out of that, we have considered only 2 numbers. That is how it works. Yes, simple random sampling, SRS. Now, for the sample, I have taken two numbers, right? 2 and 4. I got for 1. I got it as 1. So, for this 2 and 4, now I am going to use a formula called as denominator as n minus 1, numerator as it is x minus x bar whole square. Denominator only I am changing, n minus 1. So, 2 minus 3 whole square plus 4 minus 3 whole square. You know that for this you will be getting a mu as 6 by 2. It is nothing but your 3 is your x bar. So that's the reason I have written it as directly as 3 here. 4 minus 3 whole square, 2 minus 3 whole square divided by n minus 1. How much will be your n minus 1? How much will be your n minus 1? It will be 2 minus 1. It will be 1. It will be, so minus 1 square plus 4 minus 3, 1 square divided by 1. So 1 plus 1 divided by 2. It will be nothing but 2 by 2. It will be nothing but your, sorry, this is your 1. 2 by 1. So it will become your 2. The answer for your sample variance will be 2 if you use the formula called as n minus 1. N minus 1. So what does this indicate is, it is your statistical question. If you're going for core analytics startup companies, if any statistician takes you the interview, they might ask you why in your population variance the formula is n, why in sample variance the formula is n minus 1. N minus 1. So your answer should be simple. If you use this n for population as well as sample, the variation between your population variance and sample variance will be very high. The variation between population variance and sample variance will be very high. So in order to overcome this, in your sample variance, they are using it as n minus 1. N minus 1. It is the simple answer. It is n minus 1. Yes. Why we are having n minus 1 and n for your population is simple. Population variance and sample variance. Population variance and sample variance between your population and sample will be very high. No, standard deviation, next part. I'll come to next part, that is your standard deviation. Population variance and standard variance will be difference will be very high. Difference will be very high. So in order to overcome the difference, in order to reduce the difference between your PV and SV, we are going with a formula called as n minus 1. That is the definition. That is the definition. How much is it varying from your mean? So variance is nothing but, if this is your mean, how much is it varying from your mean, whether towards your plus minus 1 or 3 plus or 1 plus 2, 1 or 3, whatever it is. Or it can be minus 1, minus 2 or minus 3. How much is it been varying? That is the original definition of your variance. How much is it varying from your average? Is it varying positive side or is it varying negative side? There is no derivation. That is n minus 1 in the sense, if you're having 10 records, 10 minus 1 is nothing but 9. That's it, Debanshu. No, you should not take it as n minus 2 and n minus 3, because this is already been proved. This n minus 1 is already been proved. So if you're talking with y is equal to mx plus c, this is your equation of line. You cannot choose something else, whatever you want. It has already been mathematically proved. So that is the reason you should use only n minus 1. Only n minus 1. I'm explaining that how they have proved this n minus 1. Yes, it is not like that. You cannot take it as n minus 2, n minus 3 like that. You should stop at n minus 1, because if you go to mathematical books, it will be only n minus 1. They will not use n minus 2 or n minus 3. Then you can use until n minus n only, right? Then everything becomes 0. So you should not use that. You should not use that. So write down your notes for this. Only for variance you write down now. Just the formula part. Yes. Yes, that is the reason I told you it is not like that. They will not ask you. If they ask you, tell them that it is already been proved. You cannot go with respect to n minus 2, n minus 3. Suppose if it is like that, then we can go up to n minus 1, n minus n also. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. See, I'm spending more time on statistics part because if you don't know stats, you will never learn anything. How much is it varying from your mean? If this is your mean, how much is it varying from your mean? That is called as your variance. Simple answer is this. How much is it varying from your mean? Solve formulas they might not ask you, but sometimes very rare cases they might ask you. Very rare cases they might ask you. That's it. Okay. Now the next topic is called as standard deviation. Standard deviation. Let me get back to my slides. There is no much difference between your standard deviation and variance. The standard deviation is also square root of variance. The standard deviation formula is nothing but how much is your data point varying from your mean. That is your mean. It will be +1, +2, +3, -1, -2, -3. How much is your mean? How much is your data point varying from your average? That is difference between your. I'll explain the difference between variance and standard deviation, but write down the formula. It is simple formula is like this. Standard deviation formula is this one. It is nothing but square root of variance. Square root of variance. See, this is your x minus x bar, xi minus x bar whole square divided by n minus 1 is your sample variance. If you take square root of that, that becomes your variance. Yes, Ratnesh. Sample should be small and right. No, 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 Ratnesh. You're misunderstanding between this mu and x bar. See, this mu is nothing but your, if you're having 100 records in your data set as your 100 population, you are taking this 100 data points, mean. That is your mu. That is your mu. Out of this 100 data points, I'm choosing some 5 records. 1, 5, 10, 12, 13. If I calculate average of this is called as your x bar. This is called as your x bar. This is nothing but sample mean. Go through the videos on the first day's and second day's video. You'll understand. X bar is your sample mean. Population mean is nothing but your mean.
So Yogesh,
Yes.
uh, just describing my understanding
Yeah.
in population. So population, for example, 1 to 100,
Yes.
for example.
Yes.
So n will be 100
Yes.
and 1 to
Capital N.
100,
Capital N will be
whatever
100.
sum, sorry, capital, yes, capital N.
Yes.
And x1 will be from iterate from 1 to 100.
Yes. What?
Whatever total number of the total number of sum divided by n is
Yes.
nothing but 100. That will be our, that will be this one pi, this
So
one
mu.
mu.
Yes. 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus until 100.
Got it.
That's
Yeah.
it.
The same
Ranjini.
way for this one,
Yeah. Same way, but you should use n
sample
minus
data.
1. That's it. This is your small n minus 1. Small n minus 1. Ranjini. Okay. Please be on mute. Upendra. So one more question by Ranjini. In sample, the equation and the denominator should be yes, small n. That is what I told you. Should be yours. So this part, if you take about this, if you remove this standard square root, this becomes variance. If you remove this square root, it becomes variance. If you add square root, that becomes standard deviation. That becomes standard deviation. So why we need to have standard deviation? Why only not variance? This is also an interview question. Then what is the use of, see, just for taking square root, why we should have variance? We could have directly calculated with respect to sample only, right? With respect to your standard deviation. So what is the main difference between your standard deviation and variance is like this. So we calculated your variance, right? For different variance, you calculated 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3 number, 3, 4, 2, 4. So in your real-time data will not be simply like your 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It will have a column called as weight, or it might have a column called as salary, like this. So 2 kgs, 1 kg, 3 kg, 4 kg, 5 kg, right? So 2, 1, 3, 4, 5 means, so if you calculate your x minus mu whole square, where does this unit goes? This also should be calculated, right? Units. This units also should be calculated while you calculate your x minus mu whole square. So if you get 3 as your total variance, if you get it as population variance, if you get it as 3, you should also consider this unit. So this becomes 3 kg square. If I am talking with respect to 10,000 rupees as my salary, 20,000 salary, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, if I get 3,000 or 30,000 as my salary, with respect to the units will be rupees. Units will be rupees for the salary. In Indian currency, it will be rupees. Will it be something like 30,000 rupees square? If somebody asks you, what is your weight? Will you tell it as 50 kg square, your weight? What will be your answer? Okay, tell me, what is your weight? What is your height? How will you tell your height and weight? Only in kgs, right? So in your variance, your units also get squared. Because of this whole square, your units also get squared. If somebody asks you what is your salary, you will tell that my salary is 25,000 rupees or 30,000 rupees. You will not tell as rupees square, because your it is square. You will not tell it as rupees square. Rupees square. Getting my point? Obviously, it cannot be measured in anywhere. See, weight cannot be measured in feet. If I am talking with respect to height, if I am asking about your height, what will be your height? You will be telling it as my height is 5.6 feet. You will not tell it as 5.6 feet square. 6.1 feet is my height. I cannot tell it as 6.1 feet square. So in your variance, remember this point. In your variance, your units also get squared. Your units also get squared. So when it comes to your Sorry, Ratnesh and Rakesh, I'm getting confused. I thought it is Ratnesh. So that's the reason I answered it. Rakesh. So in your variance, your units also get squared. Your units also get squared. That is your kg square, feet square, rupee square, dollar square. You will not mention it as like this. So in order to overcome this, units squaring problem, we have something called as standard deviation. So in your standard deviation, if you write it as 10 kg square is your variance. If you take the square root of 10 kg square, the square root and square root get cancels. You will get back your original units. In order to get back your original units, you're going for standard deviation. Yes, you should always use standard deviation. Always you should go with respect to standard deviation. So if suppose somebody asks you why not variance, tell them that in your variance your units get squared. In your standard deviation, if you use your standard deviation, you'll be able to solve this squaring of units. Write down this words. That is the main reason, Mega. That is the main reason. Because of this units getting squared, in order to avoid that, you are going for standard deviation. That is the main reason. Okay. Now let us get back to next important topic called as graphical techniques. That is your bar chart. So now by seeing this first picture, pick A. Now tell me, so this is your numbers, frequency on your this thing, y axis, and this is your red color, blue color data points on your x axis. Now tell me how many red color, let me put it as red color trees or red color pen. How many colors, how many pens we have with respect to red color in this chart? Red color pens. You can easily say that it is 10. What about blue color? How about blue color? Blue is 15. Green, you can tell that it is 3. For yellow, you can tell it as somewhere around 7 or 8. Now, my simple question is like this. If you are having 110 records, which chart will you use for visualization? Which chart will you go for? If you are having 10 records or 12 records, which chart will you go for? Bar chart. Now, simple question, same. If you are having 1000 records, which chart will you go for? If you are having 1000 records, which chart will you go for? See, graphical chart, which chart? So graphical chart means it is everything is graphical chart itself. What is GT? Dotted chart. S. Kumar says dotted chart. Anybody else? Any other answer? Ratnesh tells bar chart. Bar chart. Debanshu says bar chart. S. Kumar says dotted chart. Somebody has told lines chart.
line,
Line chart. Manjunath says graph. See, which graph? Manjunath, you are telling graph. Which graph? My question is, what type of graph? Is it bar graph, line graph, pie graph? What it is? You are telling graph, line graph. Some tells line graph, some are telling bar graph, some are telling dotted graph. So let me just ask you, whoever told bar graph. So for yes, that the answer is correct. That is your histogram. The answer should be histogram. So, but for Ratnesh, now Ratnesh, in this chart, you are having 365 days data. 365 days data. Tell me, this today is August 6th. Today is August 6th. What is the value for August 6th in this chart? Anyone else can try? How much is the value for August 6th? What is the value for August 6th? Why you can't tell? Others? Not possible. It's very dense. See, it is only 1 year data I have plotted on bar chart. If you are plotting this 1 year chart on your bar plot, you are not able to identify where is my August 6th. Suppose if you're getting 2 years data or 20,000 records, so you should not go with bar chart. You should not go with bar chart. You should go with something else. You should go with something. So what is that? So that is called as your histogram. So whenever you should go for bar chart, your data point should be between 10 to 20 or maximum of 10 to 24. This is also maximum, but I'll give it as 10 to 20. If you're having 6 months, 1 year, 1.5 years data, 2 years data with respect to monthly wise, then go for bar chart. Because if you plot your daily charts for 1 year, you will not be able to identify. So you should not go always with respect to bar chart. This is the disadvantage of your bar chart. So consider that you are having only 3 records. Which chart will you go for? Which chart will you go for is my question. Bar chart. Bharat says bar chart. Yes, Bhupendra says okay. So yes, Kumar says it is bar or pie. Yes. So if you're having 2 records or 3 records or maximum of 4 records, you can go with pie chart. So this is your pie chart. 1, 2, 3. Or if you're having like this 1, 2, 3, 4, maximum you can go with respect to 2 to 4 records. Go with pie chart. Go with pie chart. So this is why I'm explaining this bar chart is, if you go for interview, they might ask you some simple questions. I'm having some 12 months data. Can you plot it and show me? They'll give you the marker and they will tell you to draw. If you draw bar chart for 12 months, it is fine. Suppose if they tell you to 1 to 100 records I'm having, try to plot it. If you plot your bar chart like this, then and there only will be rejected. If they ask you with respect to more number of records, don't go with bar chart. Tell them that I can plot histogram. I can plot histogram. If it is 2 to 4 records or maximum of 5 records, you can tell them that I'm going for pie chart. I'm going for pie chart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. So if they are telling that I'm having 10 to 20 records or 25 records, tell them that I'm going for bar plot. I'm going for bar plot or bar chart. Now, based on this bar chart, next slide we are going to discuss about histogram. Histogram. So histogram represents the frequency distribution, that is how many observations take the value within a certain interval. Read it once again. A histogram represents the frequency distribution, that is how many observations take the value within a certain interval. Within a certain interval. Now, based on this data, this is your black cherry trees. Height have been plotted on your x-axis and y-axis. This is your height. Height on your x-axis. Frequency is on your y-axis. Now tell me, how many of my black cherry trees? How many black cherry trees are of 75 to 80 feet height?
10.
75 to 80 feet height. There are, this part you should see. This part you should see because it is between 75 to 80 feet height. There are totally 10 trees. 10 trees. How many of the trees are having an height of 85 to 90 feet? How many trees are between 85 to 90 feet? It is only 2 trees. It is only 2 trees. So instead of 1, 2, let me write it in this way. 0, 2000, 2K, 4K is 4000, 6K, 8K, 10K, 10K. Now, this is your number of employees. Number of employees on your y-axis. Okay. Consider you are having 10,000 employees or whatever it is. So this is number of employees on your y-axis, and x-axis is nothing but instead of height, let me take it as salary. Let me take it as salary. 60,000 to 65,000, 70,000, 75,000, 80,000, 85,000, 90,000. Now, how many employees are getting a salary of 60 to 65,000? How many employees are getting a salary of 60 to 65,000? It is simple. It is, yes, 3,000 employees are getting a salary of 60 to 65. How many employees are getting a salary of between 75K to 80K, 75,000 to 80,000? It
10,000.
is 10,000 employees are getting. See, even though you are having 10,000 employees or 1 lakh employees also, you can plot using histogram. You can plot using histogram. So this is the power of your histogram. This is your graphical technique. This is called as your graphical chart. You should not go with bar chart, pie chart or line chart. If you are having huge number of records, you should go with respect to histogram. So a histogram represents the frequency distribution, that is how many observations take the value within a certain interval. Within a certain interval. Clear? Clear for everyone? It is simple. So you should make all the explanation as simple as your layman terms. If you read everything in your machine learning books or statistics books, you will never touch your machine learning books in your lifetime. I'm telling you. Everything you should correlate to your real-time case studies. Then only you will be able to feel that, okay, data science is so easy. You cannot tell the exact value of August 6th. That is the reason I'm showing you with respect to this. August 6th, for example, if you plot it in this way, probably you can tell that, see, Jan to Feb, it is in this March. Feb to March, it is in this March. March to April. Here it is July and here it is August. So August 6th, I can tell it in this way. Can't I tell? It is to Debanshu. Yes, yes, it can be with respect to your frequency. You need not have to calculate. I'll show you how to plot your frequency, how to plot your histogram, everything using R and Python. But first we should understand the concept. Later we'll go and implement all these things. If you don't know how to drive, what is gear, what is clutch, what is brake, directly you cannot sit in car and you cannot drive it. So first you should learn what are all these things. What does gear do? What does clutch do? What does brake do? How do I use my steering? Everything. So these are your basic part. Then I'll try to show you how to implement, how to drive this in R and Python. Now, the next topic is called as your third moment business decision. Third moment business decision. So this third moment business decision is called as skewness. Is called as skewness. Write down this. Third moment business decision is nothing but your skewness. And remember, your standard deviation is denoted by sigma. Population standard deviation is denoted by sigma. Sample standard deviation is denoted by S. Population variance is denoted by sigma square. Sample variance is denoted by small s square. Small s square. Write down this also as a part of your population variance and your sample variance with respect to your second moment business decision. This is one way to remember, or else write down like this. Write down one box like this. Okay. Heading, put it as population and sample separately. Population and sample separately. First write mean. Second one write it as variance. Third one write it as standard deviation. For mean population you are denoting it as mu. For sample you are denoting it as x bar. For variance population you are denoting it as sigma square. For sample variance you are denoting it as s square. For population standard deviation you are denoting it as sigma. For sample standard deviation you are denoting it as s. Write down like this formula. Just denotation part. How it has been denoted. Write down in this way: population, sample, mean, variance, standard deviation, so that you will be able to easily see what is x bar, what is mu, what is sigma square, what is x, everything. Now, the third moment business decision is called as your skewness. Skewness. This is called as your third moment business decision. Why it is called as third moment business decision, I'll explain you a later point. So let us try to understand. It is not variation, it is variance, Rakesh. Variance is population variance is denoted by sigma square. Sample variance is denoted by s square. Population standard deviation is denoted by. Can anyone tell what is population standard deviation denoted by? Just sigma. Stigma. Stamps. Yes. So sample standard deviation is denoted by yes. Write down this. First 5 to 6 days will be slow like this. Probably this week and next week also will be slow like this. Yes, square root of variance is standard deviation. So that is the reason your sigma square is not there here. Only sigma is there. Okay. Now coming to the skewness. This is called as your third moment business decision. So let me just try to give some hint of what is skewness in today's session. Tomorrow we'll continue. So this is, what is this curve called as? If this is your curve, what is this curve called as? It is called as bell-shaped curve. It is called as bell-shaped curve. Yes. Now there is a mean here. There is a mean or median here in this. So 50% of the data lies towards your right hand side of your mean. 50% of your data lies towards your left hand side of the mean. So what is this called as is? This is called as your symmetrical curve. It is also called as normal distribution. So symmetrical curve, it is nothing but the data, 50% of the data lies towards your right hand side, 50% of your data lies towards your left hand side of the mean. So that is the reason it is called as your symmetrical curve. Write down this symmetrical curve. Symmetrical curve. If your plots are like this, see, skewness is asymmetry in a statistical distribution. If your curve looks like this, it is not exactly like your 50% like this. So there is an long tail towards your left hand side or long tail towards your right hand side. So this is called as your asymmetry in your statistical distribution. So this is not your symmetrical curve. This is called as your asymmetrical curve. Asymmetrical curve. Skewness is measure of asymmetry in the distribution in which the curve appears distorted or skewed either towards the left hand side or either towards the right hand side. So this is also called as long tail concept. This is also called as long tail concept. Why it is called as long tail concept is because the tail is long towards your both the sides. That is the reason it is called as long tail concept. Skewness is nothing but it is asymmetry in the distribution. Asymmetry in the distribution because the data is either skewed towards your left hand side or right hand side. What do you mean by skewed is that is nothing but your tail. The long tail is towards your right hand side or towards your left hand side. That is the reason it is called as skewness. That is the reason it is called as skewness. A measure of asymmetry in the distribution is called as skewness. Why it is called as measure? Yes, I'll give you multiple examples for this. Simple examples. Very, very simple in your layman terms. So let us take an example of this. So with respect to your retail analytics, or let me choose with respect to sales, retail sales analytics. Okay. Every day your sales is increasing like this. Every day your sales is increasing. Like, is it positive or negative for your business? If your sales or profit is increasing on a daily basis, is it positive or negative for your business is my question. Yes, it is positive for your business. Yes, it will be same. It depends on the data, Ranjini. It depends on the data. Ultimately, everything depends on the data. So if you keep on every day your sales is increasing, month on month your salary is increasing, this is positive for an employee, positive for a sales, positive for your business. This is called as your negative skewness. This is called as your negative skewness. So if your tail is towards your left hand side, if your tail is towards your left hand side, then it is negative skewness. Negative skewness. If your tail is towards your right hand side like this, it is called as positive skewness. So with respect to the same sales analytics, every day your salary or your monthly wise your sales or revenue or profit is coming down. Coming down. Is it positive for your business or negative for your business? Negative for your business. Now, you came to know why it is used. You came to know why it is used, Ratnesh, Satish. If you know this, now I'm having a question for you all. Yes. So my question is like this: is negative skewness positive for business, or positive skewness positive for business? Simple question is this one.
Negative skewness.
Negative skewness is positive for business. I want you all to type your answers on chat window, everyone, including Megha, Lahari, Rakesh, Sanjay, Rakesh, Satish, everyone. I think Muralidhar is there. I think Shesha is there. So everyone tells that, okay, positive is positive. So Debanshu, you are telling positive is positive for business? Negative is business for everyone, telling it as negative is negative for business. Now I'll prove that negative skewness is negative for your business. Everyone are telling that negative is positive for business, but I'll tell you that negative is negative for your business. I'm talking with respect to a business called as manufacturing analytics. Manufacturing is with respect to manufacturing domain. I'm talking with respect to that. So consider that you are manufacturing mobile phones. Your company is manufacturing mobile phones, some iPhones. Let me take it as iPhone. So every day the number of rejections of iPhones, defect ratio is increasing. Every day your defect ratio is keep on increasing. Is it positive or negative for business? Is it positive or negative for business is my question. Yes.
Negative for the business.
But just now you told negative skewness is for positive. So remember one thing, whenever you are talking with respect to data science, with respect to data, first you should understand what is the business problem you are solving. Yes, depends on the business. So you should always look with respect to what is your business, then only you should come into the conclusion whether negative is positive or positive is positive. In this case, yes, in this case, every day your defect ratio is coming down. Defect ratio is coming down. Is it positive for business?
Positive.
Yes, this is positive for business. So simple example I'm going to give you with respect to HR analytics now. HR analytics. Concentrate here. Every day your employee attrition is increasing. Employee attrition is increasing. This is your negative for your company. Negative for your company. Every day your company's attrition rate is going down. Positive or negative? Attrition is coming down. This is positive for your company. This is positive for your company. So first thing is, whenever you're talking with respect to business, you should consider that what is the business problem, then you should tell me whether it is positive or negative. This is called as your skewness. This is called as your skewness. Okay, now how do we calculate skewness? I'll not go and explain you each and everything. So it is simple. The formula says it is summation of x minus mu divided by sigma whole cube whole raised to the power of 3 third moment business decision. You know what is x? X is nothing but your data points. You know mu is nothing but your average. Sigma is, what is sigma? What is your denominator here? What is your denominator here? What is sigma, friends?
Standard deviation in population.
Yes, it is nothing but your standard deviation. It is nothing but your standard. See, I'm not asking for just time pass. I'm asking you for understand the difference between sigma and s. That is the reason I'm asking you multiple times. What is this? What is this? What is x bar? What is mu? Because once you are thorough with respect to this, you'll be able to solve. This is your 20% of your problem will be solved if you understand population, standard deviation, sigma, all those things. All those things. So now we'll stop at this point of time. So tomorrow's session we are going to continue with respect to fourth moment business decision. Yes.
Please explain about n minus 1 and n.
Where is n minus 1 here?
Not here. In the previous session is there, no? N minus 1 and n. Exactly what is it?
I explained
Yeah,
it many times.
Yeah. What is the basic difference?
The basic difference is simple. If you use n for both population and sample, the difference between your population variance and sample variance will be very high. The difference between population variance and sample variance will be very high. In order to reduce the difference between your population variance and sample variance, you are going to use n minus 1. That is the mathematical intuition why they are using n minus 1. N minus 1. So what is your question, Bhupendra? What's your question?
Yogesh, in this skewness formula, why we are using cube?
Skewness formula. This is the derived formula. This is not, you are not deriving this. This is the formula.
No, in sense, is the reason behind that?
See, what is the reason behind your name? You cannot tell. So this has already been proved. There is no real. See, so why it is x minus mu whole square divided by n? Whole square divided by n. Why it is square here? Why it is square here? See, this is something like you're derived already. See, forget about this. You know pi value. What is your pi value?
3.14
3.14
something, yeah.
Yes. So why it is 3.14 only? (22/7). That's it. So here also there is some mathematical intuition behind this. This is the already derived formula. We cannot change it. Why it is 3 means you cannot tell anything. Why it is 3 means you cannot tell anything. It is just a formula. That's it.
Okay.
It's just a formula. Okay. So we'll continue again at same time. Muralidhar, are you there?
Yeah.
Muralidhar, if you don't mind, can you call me on my mobile number?
Sure.
So
Sure.
you have my number, right?
Yes.
Okay. 809.
I'll call you.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Sarlakji students, please ping me on my WhatsApp number. Yes. I'll come to that point.
Sure.
Tomorrow I'll explain you what is that, how you're going to get the value. If you get negative value, it is called as negative skewness. If you get positive value, it is called as positive skewness. Tomorrow I'll explain you that. Same number. So WhatsApp number is same. 8095302302. It is same. Fine, you can call me. Murli, you can call me now. Okay, thank you all. Good night.